Okay, hello everyone, welcome again to my channel. I hope you are doing well. Thanks for the click. Today we're going to see something to do with grammar, and this lesson is very important for all English learners in general, and particularly for students, for those who are having some exams that involve such lesson. Okay, so today we're going to see the difference between who and whose. Who and whose, and as you know, we have already talked about this, and when we say who and whose, these are two relative pronouns. Okay, remember, these are relative pronouns. And another thing that you have to remember is that these two relative pronouns, who and whose, can both of them can be used with what we call a person. Okay, a person. All right, so these are the 2 points that you have to remember. These are relative pronouns. This is number one, and number two, both of them can be used with their person, with a person. So in this episode we are going to see the difference between who and whose when they are used with a person. Okay, when they are used with person. Okay, and why I would like to do a specific episode to explain the difference between who and whose is that a lot of students get confused when they get to choose, for example, between who and whose for a person. They get confused. Okay, they get confused. Why? Because they all know that for a person we use who and not whose. They know that who is for person and whose is for possession. So when they have person, they automatically choose who, and this sometimes can be incorrect. Okay, so let's see a very simple examples in which I am going to explain to you this confusion. Okay, all right, let's see. The guy jacket is black is my colleague, is my colleague. Now here we have a sentence in which you have to complete with a relative pronoun. Okay, with a relative pronoun, very simply, because here we have a relative clause. This is a relative clause. Okay, all right, the main sentence is the guy is my colleague. Okay, this is a relative clause. We have already talked about relative clauses. Okay, all right, so here, in your opinion, which one is the appropriate answer? The guy who or whose jacket is black is my colleague. Now look, here the problem is that this is the guy is a person. Most of students, when they know that this is a person, automatically they choose who. Incorrect. The appropriate answer is whose. Whose jacket is black. I am going to explain to you why. Okay, whose. So the guy whose jacket is black is my colleague. Okay, let's see the same example but with who. Okay, in which who is the correct answer. Okay, the guy greeted us is my colleague. Now here the relative clause we have is greeted us. Okay, greeted us is a relative clause. All right, now here, which one is the appropriate answer, who or whose? Very simply, the answer here is who greeted us, because here we have a person. The guy is a person again. Now look here, we have in the first one we have person, and in number two we have a person, but in number one the appropriate answer is whose. The correct answer is whose, and number two the correct answer is who. Now let's see the difference. Why in number one we used whose and why in number two we use who. All right, now can you think about that? You can pause and try to think about the difference between number one and number two. Why in number one whose and why in number two who. Okay, all right, now look, in number one we have whose jacket. So the first thing, a jacket, and this is the verb, so jacket is a subject. The first thing, subject, and this subject is in a form of noun. Okay, so this is number one. The first thing you have to remember, whose is always followed by a subject, is followed by a noun. All right, this is number one. Let's see number two, who greeted. Okay, now here we have the word greeted us. Greeted is what? Is it a noun? No, it is a verb. So here who is followed by a verb. This is difference number one. Let's see difference number two, jackets. These are things that we can have. So having what? having a jacket. So whose is when we are describing a person with something he or she has, okay, something he or she has. Then we use whose, okay? All right, now let's see number 2. Guy who greeted, work, play, do, study, etc. This is all something that we can do, and here I call it doing, okay? So who is for something that the person is doing, not like whose is for something that we have, it's for something that the person has. So this is the two main difference between who and whose. So remember, for describing a person we can either use who or we can use whose. So the difference, very simply, who is plus a verb, okay, plus a verb. This is number 1, plus a verb, and it is describing someone by something that he or she does. So here I would like to say doing, for doing something, right? Now whose is followed by a subject in the form of noun, all right? This is number 1. And number 2, it's very important, is describing the person by something he or she has. And here I'd like to call it having, okay? Having something, right? So these are the two very important things that you have to remember, okay? All right, now let's do a very simple exercise together. So as you can see here, we have some 5 sentences, and what you are going to do is to complete these sentences with who or whose, okay, with who or whose. You can pause, try to do this exercise alone, and then we do it together, okay? Let's see number 1, we have student. So student is a person, okay? So this is a person, okay? All right, the student. So here we have student plural, and the student again, this is also person. The man, it's also a person. And we have the girl. The girl is also a person. Here we have the girl again, it's a person, okay? So in these 5 sentences, what are we doing? We are describing people, okay? We are describing person. This has to do with person, okay? Now the question here, which one to use, who or whose? This is what we are going to see in this one, okay? Now let's see number 1, students work hard, succeed, okay? Work hard. Now the following word, what is it? Is work. What is work? Work is a verb. This is number 1. And it is something that we do. So work is something that we do. You work hard doing something, okay? It is a verb, it is doing something. So what I want to say, the student who work hard succeed, okay? Because here we have a verb and we have something that we do, okay? All right, let's see number 2. The student, again a person, the student, marks are high, can study abroad. The following word is marks. Marks is a noun, okay? So this is a noun, it is a subject, and marks is something that we can get or something that we can have. I have good marks, I have high marks, okay? I have high marks. So very simply, here we are talking about something that we have, we can have. So automatically, the student whose mark are high. Why? Because here we are talking about something that we have and it's followed by a noun. Let's see number 3. I know the man. I know the man. The man again is a person. So here who or whose, it is followed by is sitting. Is sitting is what the present continuous of the verb sit. So this is a verb. This is a verb, sit, and sit is something that we do. So what is the man doing? He is sitting, okay? He is sitting. So automatically, the man who, okay? The man who is sitting there, okay? The man who is sitting there. Why who? Because here we have something that the man is doing. What is he doing? As I said, he is sitting, okay? All right. Number 4, do you know the girl? The girl is a person. Again, do you know the girl helped you? Helped, from help, it is a verb. And helping is something that we can do. So what did the girl do? She helped. So helping is doing, okay? So what can we say? Very simply, who, okay? All right. So do you know the girl who helped you, okay? Now let's see number 5. The girl, again, person, the girl. Father is a teacher, is really kind. What is the following word? The following word is father. And the father is a subject or it is a noun. Father, we say, I have a father, my father, okay? My father. All right, so the girl, what? The girl whose father is a teacher, whose father is a teacher, is really nice, okay? So this is all for this exercise. Just remember who is with the verb and it is for something that we do. For example, here work is something we do, sitting is something we do, and helping is something we do. So in all of them, who, and who. But when we talk about whose, is with something that we have. Okay, something that we can have is something that we possess, and it is always followed by a noun, okay, followed by a subject in the form of noun, as I said here, okay, like for example, example number 2 and number 5, the student whose marks is something that we have, it's a noun, okay, and number 5, the girl whose father, my father, okay, I have a father, it's a noun, it's a subject, okay? All right, so I hope you find this easy to understand. If you have any question or suggestion, don't hesitate to let me know, and see you in another episode. Goodbye.